Yes. Okay. So yesterday we spoke about poetry, right? We spoke about how a poem is different from any other piece of text that we usually call prose. Can one of you maybe just feel free to come off mute and even share on the chat box? How is a poem different from other pieces of writing? Zebu?
Didi, in poem we have feelings, emotions, no Didi. In piece of writing or a paragraph, we'll just read like normally we'll read, not text. In that we have feelings, but will not express. Just we will read how we read the text book.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm hearing that poetry is very high on emotions. It's driven very emotionally. All right, that's one point. Anyone else? Monica saying it's shorter with a very meaningful approach in itself. Great. Ravi?
Adding up to Zebu, poetry is much more metaphorical terms used, and yeah, it's shorter than a story, but the content could be bigger.
Awesome. It's shorter than a story, but the content could be bigger. And Ravi used a very key word here saying metaphorical. We'll try and explore that a little bit more today. So I'm hearing
Didi, we
that,
can't hear you. I mean, your voice is too low.
you guys aren't able to hear me, even right now.
Didi, we can hear, but it is coming very slow.
What? It's so weird. Okay, wait. Why do all these things happen? What about now?
I mean, I'm
Now
not
it's
sure.
fine,
Guys,
Didi.
can you tell?
Ravi, disconnect your audio and join. Connect again. I
Okay,
got
then
problem.
I'll do that. Maybe it's my problem too.
Okay. Okay, anyway, just a moment. Yeah, coming back to the topic of discussion, we said that a poem is different from a prose in three ways so far. We said one, it is shorter. Two, it is more meaningful and emotionally driven, right? Third one was it's very emotionally driven. I'm also hearing Jayashri and Niharika share on the chat box. Jayashri is saying that there are a lot of rhyming words occasionally. A speech usually doesn't focus that much on rhyme on a rhyme scheme per se. And Niharika is saying that a poem is like a piece of expression that gives us a good message by the end of it. Short, meaningful, very similar thoughts being resonated on the chat box. One keyword Ravi used while sharing was the word metaphorical. We'll explore that a little bit more down in today's class, right? Awesome. So if a poem is something that is driving a lot of meaning, if it is something that is making us see pictures very clearly, if it is something that is very high on emotion, can we try to identify some sentences from yesterday's poem that makes us feel a lot of emotions, that helps us imagine things very clearly, or has a lot of meaning just in those few words? Can we take 2 minutes, go through the poem, and identify these sentences? Thank you. Dashrath, can you repeat my instruction before we take 2 minutes?
Yes, Didi, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
So yesterday we have read a poem. So in that we should have to take 2 minutes and see some of the statements which makes us feel, and we should have to share with our class with meanings, Didi.
Your recording. Yeah. So I'm also seeing a lot of you say that these lines stood out to you because they were extremely high on emotion. and they stood out to you because they were able to convey that emotion, right? Now, why were they able to convey that emotion is something that we're looking at through just identifying something that we call a figure of speech in English today, right? Today we're going to discuss about figures of speech, right? Does anybody know what is a figure of speech? You can take a wild guess also. Dashrath.
Didi, expressing of speeches, Didi?
Expressing
Speech.
of speech, okay? Sure. Different types of expression is something that Dashrath is saying. Great. Anybody else? Meena says it's maybe saying a few words about certain things. Okay. We learned it before. Okay. Zebo and then Ravi.
Separating meaning, Didi.
Separating the meaning. Interesting. All right. Thank you, Zebo. Ravi?
Nothing. Cebu stole my meaning.
Okay. Zebo and Ravi are in agreement. Anybody else? What is a figure of speech? All right. No worries. A figure of speech, right, is nothing more than certain words or phrases that help us beautify language, right? They try to make our reading more impactful. They try to make our writing more readable, more approachable, more interesting for readers. And through all of this, they basically just make the process of engaging with literature all the more effective, all the more better. Yeah. So a lot of times we say things like, if we want to say that someone is very calm, rather than just saying that, let's say, Kavya has a very calm personality, I will say Kavya is cool as a cucumber, right? That is a different way in which I am expressing myself, and that expression in itself is a figure of speech. Now, there are many different types of figures of speech, all right? Many different types of figures of speech. But for today's class, we're going to focus only on 4. Yeah, we're going to focus only on 4 figures of speech. Number 1 being a metaphor. Number 2 being a simile. Number 3 being personification. And number 4 being metaphor. Yeah, I'm going to put that down on the chat box as well. Going to look at metaphor, simile, personification, and repetition. Yeah. So this is something that we are going to, one, understand what they are, and second, we are going to read the text again, and this time we are going to read it from a lens of trying to identify these figures of speech in the given text. Yeah. So till now we've been reading all our lessons and our poetry by the means of just trying to understand the meaning. Today we'll also try to see what are the different comparisons that the author or the poet is trying to make, and how can we be in a position where we are able to deeply appreciate just the depth and the enormity of what they are saying. Yeah, awesome. Bisai, can you repeat what is a figure of speech before we continue? Sai, are you there?
Figures of speech means which make the sentences interesting to read. Didi.
Amazing, right? Something that is making a sentence more interesting to read by means of making different comparisons or whatever it is trying to do is called a figure of speech. Kavya, could you list down the 4 different types of figures of speech that we will be exploring today? It's even on the chat box. This is J Kavya I'm calling out to. What are the different types of figures of speech we will learn today?
Metaphor, Didi.
Hmm?
Second one is simile. Third one, personification. Fourth one,
Hmm.
Repetition.
Amazing. Thank you, Jay Kavya. And thank you, Sirisha, for putting it on the chat again. Don't apologize. I do appreciate it. Great. Let's look at them one by one. Yeah. Very simply, I will give you what are the meanings of these figures of speech, and I'll give you an example for the same. Okay. Number one, metaphor. A metaphor is nothing else but a simple comparison, right? So if I say that today, no, or if I say this baby is a newborn angel, this baby is a newborn angel, I am comparing the baby to an angel, right? So that comparison of identifying one object or one entity as another is simply called a metaphor, right? As simple as that. Can you guys think of what could be a metaphor and share on the chat box, please?
Examples are Didi on the definition.
Example. Definition is a comparison. A metaphor is nothing but a comparison. I'm asking you guys to think about how can you use it in different sentences. Like I see Zebu put down on the chat that you are my sunshine. Beautiful. That's a metaphor. That example completely came out of the blue. Interesting. Interesting. Came out of the blue. Yeah, agreed. Agreed. It's more of a proverb coming out of the blue, but I do see what you did there, and I'll accept it as a metaphor as well. Great. Comparing my mother to an angel. All right. All right, Jyoti. My bike. So you wouldn't say, I hope my bike could become a flying car, Dashrath. You would, however, say, my bike is as fast as a car. Or actually, you wouldn't say as fast as a car. My bike is like a, my bike is my personal car. If you're calling your bike your car, then that would be correct. I'll explain to you why I'm not saying like or as when we discuss simile. But that's the reason I'm just like staying away from that particular thing as of now. Yeah. Okay, beautiful. For a daughter, for her father is always a princess. Beautiful. A daughter is a father's princess. Yes, that is a metaphor. Beautiful example of a metaphor, in fact, Jayashree. All right. Kavya, you're right. It is comparing one thing with another. My dad is my hero is a metaphor again. Yes. Yes, Kavya, you're right. The girl is a sparkling star, is like a sparkling star, Niharika has written. Awesome. I'll explain to you why this sentence comes under a different bracket of figures of speech. Okay, Niharika, give me like in the next one. My brother is an elephant. Yeah, sure. That is a metaphor again. My house is heaven. That is a metaphor again. The world is a stage. That is a metaphor again. Beautiful, guys. Yes. So I'm seeing most of us have been able to give us examples. Pranay, Shoaib, Imran, I haven't heard an example from you guys. Kailash, I haven't heard an example from you guys. From you. Sanya as well. Same for Srinivas. Yeah, I think I've heard from everybody else. Meena also, I guess. Yeah. And Rishita. I would love to see responses from you guys on the chat box, but for now, I'm moving on. So here we saw comparisons. You guys gave me examples, and we saw all of these as examples of metaphors. Now, in some sentences, you would have noticed I said that the like or the as is something that will not be a metaphor, but it will come under another different type of figure of speech, right? In this particular case, when we are using the words like or we are using the words as, right? Like or as to compare, that phrase or that figure of speech itself becomes a simile. Yeah, a simile is also a comparison, but a simile uses these two words, like and as, right? That's mainly all a simile is. So when we say things like cool as cucumber, like the sun, like Dashrath had said, my bike is like a flying car, Like Niharika has said, something is like something else, right? All of these are examples of similes. Yeah. Let's again take 2 minutes and share on the chat box what are some different similes and examples that we can think of. Hey Pranay, Shoaib and Imran, I feel like that was already on the chat. Maybe we can think of another one, yeah? And maybe you can share a example of a simile, the one that I just spoke about. Making a comparison using as or like. Zebu saying a heart is like gold, beautiful. My anger is like my father's anger. Interesting. Interesting. You're comparing two similar entities, but you're adding the word like. Could be possible, Sirisha. I'll check this out. I'll check out if it needs to be completely different things or can it be something similar. There is a tendency for things in similes or figures of speeches to not compare something to something that it is similar to, but to make different sort of comparisons, right? Like how I say that, like for instance, if I say Sirisha's mind is as fast as a computer, right? So here I am using the word as fast as, and I'm comparing mind to computer, which are two very different things, right? Usually that's how we go about it. You can write down the definitions. In fact, you definitely should. My heart is like gold, anger is like my father's anger, my car looks like a dustbin. Yeah, sure. I can love like Romeo. Yes. I look the same as my parents. Here again, Niharika, I think the difference in comparison, what I just spoke, right? Like comparing mind to computer, smile to sun, love to Romeo, right? Many different things. She is like actress, not really Pujita, because the comparison is not happening here, right? You're saying she is like an actress to describe as an adjective. But I'm wondering, are we really comparing something? So if you say that she is as pretty as Madhuri Dixit, for example, right? That could become more of a comparison. Yeah, I think Niharika did just that a couple of
Didi,
below. Yes, Pujita?
I said she's looking like actress. I said Didi.
Correct. So what I'm saying is
Looking
that
like
saying she looks like an actress, or look, or she is looking as an actress, or however you framed it, that becomes more of an adjective, right? Like
yes.
she's looking like this person. I am saying you need to compare two different things for it to qualify as a simile.
Honey.
Yeah. I'm as cool as Tenali, poor as dirt. Is a comedian like Mr. Bean, sure. Brave as a lion, beautiful Rishita. Like a rock, sun looks like a football, beautiful. Yeah. Okay. Came in like a wrecking ball. Yes, that actually is a simile, right? You will find similes and metaphors all around you, and you'll start noticing them a little bit more. Rishita, you raised your hand. Okay, probably by mistake. Again, Niharika, if you're saying you look like your father in height, it's not a comparison you're making, right? You're using it as a basis for understanding height, but you're not comparing two different things, right? Like again, Meena said that my brother jumps like a monkey. Brother and monkey are very different, right? But you're comparing them and bringing them together and using it as a simile. Yeah. Okay. If you have doubts, write them down, note them down somewhere. We'll come back to it. We're done with metaphor. We're done with simile. Metaphor, comparison, simile, comparison using like or as, right?
Give
Comparison,
2 minutes.
two very different things. Yeah. Monica?
Didi, give 2 minutes. We will write the
Okay.
our own definition.
All matters when it comes to present, past, and future tense. I heard a song which says, "Soon I'll be 60 years old. Will I think the world is cold?" It's like That's more like a simile when you say soon will I think the world is cold, like a metaphor. Will I think the world is cold? Like, but here we also have a future tense. Will I think the world is cold? So, do we have any differences when it comes to present, future, and past tense?
Very beautiful question, actually. I don't think metaphors will be affected by this very deeply, because a metaphor, like we discussed, is simply comparing two very different things together in whatever tense that be, right? Um, she will be a rock. That is also a metaphor. Yeah, she is not a rock right now, but she will be a rock when she faces difficulties. So that is a metaphor, and that is still being used. Or if I'm using it in the past, uh, she was soft as a pillow, she became strong as a rock. Right, again I used simile, but in past tense. So I don't think that tense matters. I think a figure of speech uses the intent of conveying a message to hold itself applicable at any given point of time. Does that help, Ravi? Does that help solve your doubt?
Absolutely.
Lovely.
Wait, I'll use a metaphor. Absolutely like a crystal. No, no, no. Absolutely like a zero. No, no, no. Crystal clear. That's it.
Yeah, so clear as a crystal would have made sense.
Okay.
Yeah, awesome. Love that though. Okay then, can we move ahead? If everyone's ready. Monica, Dashrath, I know you are
Like a
ready.
rocket. We'll move ahead like a rocket.
We'll move on like a rocket. Lovely. I'm loving the use of metaphors. Let's keep talking in figures of speeches. Love that. Okay. All right. So we're done with two. The other two are much easier. Okay. They're damn simple. The third one is something that people usually get confused with, because they wonder, oh, is this metaphor? Is this personification? But the third one today is something we call personification. In the word itself, the first part of the word, person, Person, person exists, and the figure of speech is also that. If there is any non-human entity, any non-human living being, object, whatever it is, and we are adding human qualities to it, we say that the figure of speech is personification, right? There is something which is not human, but we are adding non-human qualities to it. We are adding human qualities to it. We call that personification. Yeah, for example, this doorbell is so irritating. Now, by virtue, by nature, a doorbell can't be irritating. As human beings, we are getting irritated by it. But we are giving the quality of irritation, which is a human quality, to the doorbell, right? So when I say that this doorbell is so irritating, I am personifying the doorbell. Or if I say that this clock is so energetic, it's faster than it should be. Now a clock can't be energetic, right? A clock can't have energy like a human being, but we are attributing a human's energy to the clock. Therefore, we are saying that it is a personification. Was that clear, or was that not clear? Give me a thumbs up if it was clear, a clap sign if it was not clear. Okay, couple of claps. Most of you have understood. Okay, okay, okay. Very simple. We are taking, again, we're making a statement that helps us imagine things more. It's a figure of speech, right? Now there are some qualities of a human being. What are some qualities of a human being, Jyoti?
We will look smart, intelligent.
Mad, intelligent. Yeah. What else? Can you give me one more?
Not getting you.
Anything. Some maybe confused.
Confusion, fear, the feelings.
Yeah, right. Beautiful. So many different emotions human beings have. So many qualities human beings have. Responsible, etc. Lovely. Now, if these are different human qualities, okay, and I have an understanding of that. If someone comes and tells me that, what do I say? This sanitizer is very smart. It's a smart sanitizer. We call our phone smart, right? We call our phone smart. I am using a smartphone. Can a phone actually be smart? Isn't smart a human quality? Right?
Yes.
So when we say smartphones or smart laptops or smart gadgets, we are personifying them, right? The figure of speech we are using is personification. Similarly, just 1 second, Ravi, I'll come to you. Similarly, if I say that the I'm trying to look at objects around me. Okay, sorry. My maths textbook is scary. Okay, if I'm saying my maths textbook is so scary, my textbook is Papam not doing anything. My textbook is just there, but I am feeling afraid of it. So I'm calling the book scary. Scary is a human quality. So that is personification. Yeah. Okay, I'm seeing some of you naturally, organically share stuff on the chat box. Okay. Nothing is stupid. It would help to be more specific, Ravi. You had a doubt also, you can come off mute and ask. I can see the news travels quickly. That is a beautiful example of personification, Zebu.
Yeah, I wanted to mention, but I felt like if someone else doesn't like it, then it would be a bad thing. So I just mentioned that thing. I was having a doubt. What was my doubt? I'm not. I forgot actually. It was like, yeah. When you actually give the name, I mean, smartphone's name is already given. It's a verb now. It's no longer a describing word.
Correct.
Then would it still be a personification?
Lovely question, right? So it started off. So we are not looking at the technical name of the product anymore, but we are trying to understand the literary element behind it. We're trying to understand the language and the system of the language behind it. So when we defined it for the first time as a smartphone itself, from there only it became a personification as a literary element. Over time, now they are called only smartphones. You're right. So it's not really like a figure of speech. It's more like a product name or a device name. But in terms of the language used, it is a figure of speech and it is personification.
Roger that.
Amazing. The photos are so old. Lovely, Ji Kavya, actually. Photos are old, looking old. Old can be in two different ways here. Old because, I'll tell you why, I'll clarify the doubt here. Old can also be used as an adjective, right? New versus old, which is a describing word. A personification in a figure of speech doesn't describe, right? Personification does not describe, but it helps us make connections by giving human qualities to something else. So if, yeah, okay, let's look at more. How they gone, they walked, they went. The trees danced is one. My mobile is very sincere is one. Very dependable, very sincere. Yeah. Sometimes we say my phone is mad, right? How many of us have said this? My phone is mad, right? That becomes personification. Grass is stubborn, we're saying. Okay. Okay. It is true. I mean, I don't know in what context you're saying this, Ravi, but like personification wise, it's correct. The sea is angry. We say the rains, when it's raining very heavily, we say the sky is crying, right? We say all of these things. My
Did I wrote,
friend, Pujita,
I wrote a small conversation in chat box.
I couldn't hear you.
I wrote small conversation, Didi.
Oh, you
Only
wrote
2 lines.
okay.
Pujita.
Hey, my shoes are gone. How are they gone? They walked and went to you see. Okay. Okay, lovely. My shoes are gone. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Again, we might have to keep working on these to try and clarify what exactly is a metaphor, what exactly is personification, etc. But yeah, we'll break that down more. Ravi and then Dashrath.
By did the people say like he came like a cockroach and went? I mean, will that come under metaphor?
That will be a metaphor. Yes, you're right. Or if you're saying he came like a cockroach, what do you think it would be, Ravi?
Simile, yeah.
Simile. Because like.
If I wanted a metaphor,
He is cockroach like, or he is a cockroach. He comes and goes without anyone knowing. Yeah, that is what. Yeah. Dashrath?
Did I have a doubt, Didi?
Mm-hmm.
So, Didi, can we use this figures of speech in a framing of question, Didi?
What do you think?
I
Can you give me
think
an example also? Yeah.
I'm thinking we can try, Didi. I'm
Mm.
not very sure, but we can try.
Yeah, I can see Kavya actually send me a question here saying, why are you acting like a dog? Do you think that's a figure of speech? Are you acting like a dog?
Might be, Didi.
Might be, right? Because you're comparing, are you acting like a dog? You and dog are two different entities. Like is joining the two. It's a simile.
Hmm.
So are you acting like a dog? Do you think your cool is a cucumber? You can use it. You can use it in the form of questions as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
lovely, lovely. All right, let's quickly try and find one metaphor in our text, right? Let's read our text once again and try to identify some metaphors, some personifications, and some similes. And then let's come back and share again. Yeah. I also know I told you, I'll tell you what repetition is. Repetition is actually, like the name suggests, when a sentence is used multiple times or a word is used multiple times repeatedly to give more emphasis, to stress on it more. That is called repetition. For example, I'll go to school today. I'll go, I'll go, I'll go. So I'll go becomes repetition. It can be in poems, it can be in stories, it can be anywhere, Sirisha.
TD.
Teacher, can you repeat?
Yeah, I'll just take Ravi's question and repeat, Pujita. Yes, Ravi?
Not TD. Is it like, there's a statement, one of the most famous statement in Naruto. It's like the one who abandoned the machine are scum, but the ones who abandon the friends are worse than scum. Will scum, because scumming repeated, will that be a, what is that thing?
Repetition.
Repetition?
It could be. You can identify it as repetition.
Okay.
Yes. But there was also an example of a simile, if you noticed.
No, it's like it doesn't use like. It just says the one who abandon the machine are scum. The one who abandon their friends are worse than scum.
Okay. So there's no like, therefore it will be a
A repetition.
anything else?
It will be also a metaphor. No,
It will also be a
it will be a personification because humans can be scum.
So if scum was human, then that would be personification. But
If
because it's the
scum was
other way
human
around,
property. If
yeah,
scum was human property.
scum at dirt, like waste types. That's what scum means.
If you take it in that way, yes.
Yeah.
Did you check once the sentence?
Checking, yeah, just checking the chat itself. Okay, repetition. I'll show you guys an example in the text. Okay. If you go on page number 88, it's not exactly the best example of repetition, but this was the house she'd been sent to, the man she'd been bound to, the future she'd been born into. The very small thing too is being repeated here, okay? But it's creating an impact in our heads. It's creating an impact that this is what has happened to her, right? So it's creating a vivid imagery just by the simple repetition of the word to. Repetition can be very simple, it can be very deep also. It's usually not tested or like thrown at people, just like metaphors and personifications are. They are more hi-fi and like fancy and all when we are learning, but sometimes simple figures of speeches like repetition can be very powerful. Yeah. I'll give you guys an example of it later. We can use it. I'll send over a text. Okay, let's see if we can try and identify the figures of speech in that text. One sec. Very simple text because we are all just learning figures of speeches. All the figures of speech that we learned are present in this. I want you to identify the sentences where they are present. Okay, it's on the chat box. Eyes as bright as the sun. Playing with you was always fun. You were my friend, trusting and kind. That is why you're always on my mind. Barking loud and playing well. To the poor cat, you were hell. My favorite dog, my best friend too. I miss you, I miss you, I miss you. Let's try and identify the figures of speech.
I miss you, I miss you, I miss you. That's only first.
Lovely. I miss you, I miss you, I miss you is the repetition. Okay. 3 more are there. Metaphor is there, personification is there, simile is there. Let's see if you can find it. Okay, I'm seeing Zebu's already found it. All right. Zebu, you want to share?
Yes, Didi. Eyes as bright as the sun.
What is that?
Similarly,
Lovely. It's a simile, right? Great. Thank you for that, Zebu. One simile, all right. Eyes like the sun is a simile, all right. Lovely, lovely, guys. Srinivas, do you understand why it is a simile? Eyes as bright as the sun.
Because
Srinivas, are you there?
Yes.
Awesome. Simile ante ardhamainda, Srinivas? Okay. Your friends are saying eyes as bright as the sun is a simile. Can you tell me why?
Because our eyes are sharp and like when we get angry, so hard and our eyes will become red.
Okay.
That's all.
Sure. So what you described is why we are comparing eyes to the sun. Very, very valid. Comparison outundi. But they're saying it's a simile. Can you explain why is it a simile? Why that particular figure of speech?
Not have any ideas, Didi.
ठीक है. Can someone explain or help Srinivas explain why it is?
I'll. Can I?
Go for it, Ravi. You came out first. Monica, I'll allow Ravi to help out, okay?
Laddu. Huh. So, simile means when the words like and as are used. Here, which of them are used when the sentence says eyes as bright as the sun?
Yes.
ఇందులో like and as యూజ్ అవుతుందా ఎక్కడ
As.
ఎక్కడ
అదే as like a sun అన్నది
as the sun. సన్ ఇక్కడ ఒక మెటఫారికల్ టర్మ్ లెక్క వాడుతున్నాం ఫిగర్ ఆఫ్ స్పీచ్ లో యాజ్ ద సన్. సో అట్లా అన్నప్పుడు అదొక సిమిలీ అయిపోతుంది కదా. whenever we use like or as, it exactly means that we are using simile instead of a metaphor. Okay. Did he asking one more question? He'll say like that only.
Okay.
Hey, Kailash is joining now.
Yeah, he missed and he left and came again. Srinivas, now Ravi told what is a simile kada. Can you think of an example and share on the chat, Srinivas? Time disco. Think of an example and share it with me. Okay?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. All right. So we found two figures of speech so far. Eyes as bright as the sun is a simile. I miss you, I miss you, I miss you is repetition. I am saying there is also metaphor and personification. Can we identify?
Can I say?
Pujita, go for it.
Wait, did I will see the chart and to the poor. My favorite dog, my best friend too, Didi. It will come.
What do you think that is?
My favorite dog, my best friend too. Metaphor.
Metaphor. Why?
Because we are comparing favorite dog to favorite friend, the best friend.
Do you think it's being used as a? Do you think it's being used as a adjective, or do you think it's being used as a comparison? It like give me your honest opinion. There's no right answer. I'm asking.
Didi poem gone. Didi send again.
What is gone? The poem is gone. Wait, sending. Ha, Pujita, I'm asking. Just think about. Is it a describing word or is it a this thing comparison? Just check that.
Comparison, Didi.
Can be a comparison, sure. So if it's a comparison, it can be metaphor. I am also seeing people, like I'm seeing Kavya share with me privately and Dashrat share on the chat that you were always on my mind is a metaphor. Being in someone's mind can be a metaphor, okay? Sure. But is it a comparison, Dashrat? Being on my mind, is it a comparison?
No, Didi.
So if it's not a comparison, then it will not be a metaphor.
Didi barking loud and playing well.
Barking loud and playing well. What will that be a comparison? Step 1, check if it's a comparison. Step 2, check if like or as is there. If like or as is there, simile. If like or as is not there, metaphor. Ante. Comparison is your primary. Comparison unda leda check cheyal first.
Didi, we're
Yes.
running out of time like Shivani Didi. Let's get the class done.
Yes, will do. You guys take this back. Try to find out where the personification and the metaphor are as well. I'll send it on the group. After which, your homework for the day is to go through the poem, underline all the metaphors, personifications, repetitions, and similes that you come across, and just make a note of that as to why it is that figure of speech. Yeah, we'll find it in the book. Tomorrow we'll discuss it. And then we'll try to write a poem. We'll try to write something tomorrow using our figures of speeches and write something on gender. Works? All
Didi, I'll
right.
send you the body. I'll send you the body